Welcome to Redvee TV, supported by A-Star Recruitment for the 2020 season, as we look ahead to the 2020 Betfred Super League season. Are you ready for Rugby League, Kevin?
Yes, can't wait now.
Proper Rugby League.
Yeah, that's it. Since October, had a nice little break from it.
Internationals don't count.
Yeah, well, I'm not getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning. Are you?
Didn't count for much of them either.
No, I'm looking forward to getting back into it. Kind of getting my appetite back now for the rugby.
Saints will start as massive favourites. A justified tag.
Yeah, we've not changed too much apart from the coach. I mean, you could argue that is a massive change in itself. One that needed to be made, obviously, with Holbrook going back home. But yeah, listen, that squad, if we're just kind of tinkering with little bits, that squad has just finished, what was it, 16 points clear?
And 2 out of the 3 we lost were games we rested people.
Yeah, and one of them was a golden point.
And the other one was a cow patch in France.
Yeah.
So other teams have recruited. I don't look at anybody who's recruited to get anywhere near us once again. I'm sorry, we're not being cocky. But listen, I think we'll finish way ahead of the pack once again. But we all know it comes down to potentially one game, either at Wembley or Old Trafford, to decide who's champions. But I think on a week by week consistent basis, I think we will win the majority of our games.
Well, the thing is, if you go off the evidence of last season, I can't see that not being true. I think other teams have recruited and recruited well, but as you say, have they recruited kind of enough to catch us? Could they recruit in one, call it a transfer window, with the lack of transfers that tend to happen in rugby league? Could they do it in one season? Listen, time will tell. We could end up sitting here and going, you know what, our players haven't performed to the levels that they did last year, and others teams have kind of gelled straight away. But yeah, I think we'll finish top.
Do you look at our side and think, do you know what, there's still improvement in it? You've got Matty Lees, who's the young player of the year. Yeah, he's coming back from injury now, but he will have another year's worth of improvement in him. Luke Thompson gets better year on year. Regan Grace, another who is built in confidence last season. I think last season was his best he's had. We're not at our peak as a team, I don't think. I think we can get better.
Add to that, Jack Ashworth, who's just had a proper full season in the first team squad.
James Rogan, who's coming back from injury, who was probably hampered a lot during 2019 carrying that. Hopefully will come back fresh.
I thought you were going to say James Bentley, who's got improvements in him. Aaron Smith, who's got improvements in him. Jack Wells, who's got improvements in him. It's an exciting time to be a Saints fan.
Give us that trophy now. Just save yourself 10 months of hate, everyone else.
Do I still have to pay for my season ticket if they just give it us an album?
Yes.
Fair enough.
Around the league then, who's improved for you?
I think the two that I think of who've recruited quite well are Wigan and Hull. I think you could argue that all of Wigan's signings are better than what they had. They've strengthened the pack. Signing Jackson Hastings, a man of steel, should improve them as well. The only question mark I'd almost have about Wigan is who those 6 and 7 are actually going to be. I know they've given Bevan French the 6 shirt after playing him on the wing all last year. When he came over. But I don't know enough about Bevan French to know that he is going to be a good 6 with a kicking game who can get him out of trouble if Hastings isn't there. I think they've got like a little bit more in the pack with Burgess and Mitch Clark again. I don't know too much about, and I know he didn't play at Castleford once they knew that he was on his way. But from what they had last year, it's definitely an improvement. Hull again, another team who've kind of just stocked up on troops. And I think this season will be make or break for Lee Radford.
See, I think we're going to improve probably as a team, but I think they'll finish third instead of second, as they did last year. On the basis, I don't think Warrington will fall away as they did last year as much. They'll probably bottle it a little bit later than that.
Fair enough. I think with Warrington, the obviously big signing is Gareth Widdop, and it's getting him and Blake Austin to gel straight away.
which they're not going to because Widdop's out injured.
Because Widdop's out injured.
Surprised.
But if they could keep him fit for the last 2/3 of the season, then
Big if though, isn't it?
Well, we can go through each team, and everybody's got that big if of keeping someone fit. I mean, you look at us; it's keeping James Roby fit, and that's only because he's coming towards the end of his career. Same Sean O'Loughlin at Wigan. Gareth Widdop, unfortunately,
Here's a question for you then. Which position can Saints not afford an injury?
Centre. I would say centre. If you've got a long-term injury to Kevin Nagama or Mark Percival, I think that's when you're looking for someone to really, really step up and play above and beyond.
Okay. I'd probably agree with that because I look around the squad and I think we've got that many players who can step in. I don't even like. Last year we had the halves with Richardson on the sideline. I think Lewis Dodd will play that role this year. So I think we're well stocked there. So yeah, probably agree with you on centre.
I think we've got Matty Costello, who's had time there, and he's a good, solid player.
But no X factor maybe.
He's not. He's obviously not at that level. I mean, there's not many who are in Super League.
And I think there's a role for.
Yeah,
your Matty Costello's in every squad anyway.
That's it. This isn't a go at Matty Costello. It's not a go at Jack Wellsby. It's not a go at Josh Sim. But if it's one of them who ends up having to step into the centres, if we did get an injury there, to take their game up to what we're used to at centre, is going to be a bigger push than
I think Jack Wellsby's got a massive future ahead.
Yeah, definitely.
Who do you worry for in this table?
Wakefield. I think they always seemingly have a crippling injury list. I think they're always about kind of the team effort rather than having star individuals. Hull KR, it's not the early 2000s where you can go out and sign half the Bradford squad and they're all good signings. There's a lot of championship players coming and they've lost. With Danny Maguire going, that is a lot of experience who may only play a dozen games. But those dozen games, you put them in against the teams who are in and around you that you need to win, rather than necessarily playing him away at Saints or Wigan, which is an absolute massive bonus. The other one, Toronto coming in, they'll win enough at home to keep them out of trouble.
On a plastic pitch as well.
Yeah, but having a squad of 23 players before you're coming into Super League, I almost think that's bad squad management. If you're having to ask for more salary cap dispensation, I think that's a poor move.
I don't think it should be allowed in terms of giving them dispensation. At the end of the day, they've chose to spend their money the way they've spent it. I've made the analogy on the Redvee podcast, more about that later, that it's like taking your child to the toy shop and then wanting to buy the first thing they see and not leaving themselves any money for anything else, and then crying to the mum and dad wanting more toys.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, but that's the whole point of a salary cap. You either get rid of it for everyone, or you play by the rules with it. And I'm afraid 23 players now. I don't think they'll go down. I think Toronto will go all right this year. But sorry, for me, you've spent the money, and that's up to you to spend it wisely and budget appropriately.
Yeah, I think they'll stay up. I do think they'll stay up. I think they'll win more at home than
I don't think they'll be battling relegation. I think they'll be 9th roundabout.
I mean, these predictions that we're doing are based on them keeping the squad fit. That's not going to happen. And having 23 players isn't enough.
With no reserve.
With nothing
to fall back
to
on
bring
maybe.
in. Especially now, when you have a look at the fact that you've got to name a 21-man squad. And
they'll end up some games just playing with 10 men and Sonny Bill.
10?
Yeah. Sonny Bill taking the role of field.
Fair enough.
10 men and Sonny Bill having the role of free. So they'll have 11 on the field, but Sonny Bill, it's because he's just super. I tell you what, he's a man mountain. He's absolute. I've seen him in the flesh. He's massive, absolutely massive.
Sounds like a bit of a man crush though. Is he a good looking bloke as well?
He's a good looking bloke. Yeah. Not quite at our standards, like, but do you know what? Yeah. So for me, I'll agree with you. I think Hull KR are in trouble. I think it says it all with the sponsor on the shirt. I think they'll be going down with the drain company.
Okay. We're back, are we?
We're back.
That's the level we're at.
Warrington will be alright with Hoover. They just suck a bit.
Oh, no. Carry on.
Oh, I'm out of jokes now.
Alright.
Do I look like a stand-up comedian?
No, you don't sound like one either.
Man of Steel contenders for you then? I don't think a Saints player can win it. I just don't. I think when you've got so many good players in your squad who will influence games at different times during the year, I think the points will be spread out too far. For me, Johnny Lomax was Man of Steel last year. All year. And didn't win it. I think he'll be close again this year. I think Luke Thompson will have another good year, but I don't think they'll get the points.
Yeah.
I think it'll be essentially a big fish in a small pond. Somebody who's bigger than the team and basically gets the results for them, and a team where they've got to have a good year for them to be up there. So for me, I can't look past Jackson Hastings.
That's fair enough. I'd say if they can keep him fit, Luke Gale at Leeds.
Another one.
Yeah, I think he will be key to them getting top 5, which I think they might just sneak into top 5 if they can keep him fit. It's all ifs and buts, but we can't turn around and say, well, he's going to get injured and he's going to miss 8 months. You've got to turn around and say, if he can stay fit, if he's sharp enough, then he's the type who will get them round the field, score 3 points, 2 points more often than not, and he could well be a good shout for Man of Steel.
Top try scorer, Tom Johnson at Wakefield, coming back from a really serious injury, and Josh Charnley, who always flatters to deceive and, well, head the market. Tommy Makinson behind him, well, like Greg Eden, Ash Handley, Liam Marshall.
Greg Eden won't be anywhere near that. He's been given the number 25 shirt. He won't be anywhere near that.
He's on the list. Sasaya Feki, Blake Austin, just because it's a name, and Bevan French. At 18, so where's Regan Grace?
Yeah, Regan Grace would be my shout there.
You've got to go for me, Saints winger. So Tommy Mack, I'll go back, but you'll back Regan.
Yeah, I'll back Regan.
It literally depends on which side of the field we fancy throwing it about on that week, isn't it?
And we looked alright. I know Tommy wasn't playing in the London friendly, but we looked alright down that left. Percy found Regan a couple of times.
We seem to be functioning as good as we were last year,
yeah.
So for me, right, I'm going to go for my league table first. This is how I see it finishing this season.
I'll get mine ready then.
Saints at the top by double figure points.
Okay.
At least 10 points, maybe not 16, because I don't think Warrington and that will drop points against the other lesser sides like Wigan. So Saints only by about 10. Warrington will finish second. They won't fall away as early in the year this year. Wigan third, followed by Cass and Hull, making up the playoff spots. Salford and Leeds just outside of that. And then your bottom 5, there won't be a lot separating them, but I've got Catalan, followed by Toronto, Huddersfield, and then your basement dwellers, Wakefield and Hull KR going down the drain.
Alright, mine would be Saints top. I think it'll be comfortable finishing top. Followed by Wigan again, then Warrington, Hull, because they've recruited well, but it's make or break, as I say, for Radford. Followed by Leeds, making up that top 5. Leeds can keep Luke Gale fit. I think they play a simpler brand of rugby. Just keep it basic, and you know what, that works. Next, Castleford. I just think the pack kind of needs a better year than it had last year. Richardson and Truman, 2 young lads. There's not that experienced head almost playing at half next to one of them, like they'd have had with Luke Gale. Don't take that as a bad thing, Castleford fans. I think they just need a season to gel.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you've potentially got the next England half-back partnership there, haven't you? Followed by Huddersfield, and that, again, it's on Caesar playing a full year and him getting the platform, but I just think that they might end up sneaking a couple of wins. They've had a bit of stability there with Wolford still being in charge. Salford next. Ian Watson will keep them out of trouble, but I just think they've lost too much quality. Followed by Catalan, win enough at home, but
We're nothing
absolutely terrible away from home. And even some of the ones at home they throw it in, because they got nilled a couple of times at home. Wakefield, always worry about their injury list, as I've said. Then Toronto, squad size is just going to keep them down there. Unless they had. If they had, I reserve the right to change that and push them a little bit further up the table. followed by I'm sorry.
Whoa! You reserved the right
Yes.
to change to predict that they would have finished. I'm not having that.
Yeah.
Carry on.
Tough. You're gonna have to. It's based on now, isn't it? It's based on the here and now. They've got a 23-man squad. It's not enough. And then Hulk out at the bottom. Not even Sean Kenny Dowell will help that bunch of players get out. They've not got enough at half-back. They've unfortunately lost two of the most experienced forwards as well in Mossy. And obviously all of our thoughts are currently with Mossy. It sounds like it gets a little bit more promising day by day that he's alert and I think Hull KR have said they're going to stream some games into him as well.
Best wishes to Mossy.
Yeah, definitely.
We met him, didn't we, when he was here? We had pictures with him,
Yeah.
as if we were the front row with him and Kyle. Yeah, great bloke, and hopefully gets well soon.
Yeah, that's it. They've lost him and Weller Haraki, and you just think the pack isn't big enough now, and at halfback, I'm not sure they've got enough.
Okay. New logo this season. Super League trying to go younger, fresher. They've recruited the same documentary team who did the As Good As It Gets Leeds documentary to try and show some of the stories, because I think the tagline that they've used was a great story but poorly told, which is
Can't disagree with that.
no. So I'm really looking forward to that documentary, which will be streamed on Sky. A weekly show this week was season on Sky, which has been missing and needs to be there. So a younger, fresher look for the league. I think we've got a lot to look forward to, and I'm looking forward to watching probably more games from the other teams on Sky this season rather than some of the dour stuff that we've seen like in recent years. A lot of big name signings, your James Maloney's, your Sonny Bill Williams, your George Burgess, your Widdups when they're fit. I think it could be a good year.
Yeah, as long as it sounds like I want people out of jobs and I don't, but they need to strip back the commentary team though as well for you to enjoy the game.
Put it on mute.
Well, fair enough, but
put it on mute and listen to the Redvee podcast while you watch the game.
For the enjoyment, I want a commentator tells me what's going on, a summariser answer the commentator's questions and give her opinion, and then have a studio audience. So have your Barry and Terry and a player who is in the, whether that be the likes of a John Wilkin or the likes of a James Roby or someone who's even recently retired, Jamie Jones Buchanan, Carl Ablett, someone who is round and about, and have them there. We don't need 8 different voices jumping over each other.
Trying to be controversial.
Or even like when they were going to Stuart Cummings, thankfully he's gone now, hasn't he? Going to him, and he'd turn around and say, and the one that sticks in my mind is always the Percival try against Wigan, where he turned around and said, "Oh, that's a foul in the air," because he's knocked into him. They're both challenging for the ball. They're challenging for the ball. What are you meant to do?
Yeah.
Absolutely ridiculous. And they're always trying to make the voice heard so they're relevant to what's going on. Cut all that out. They don't have it on football, and football survives brilliantly. You look at what they've got now. It sounds like this magazine show's been hosted by 2 completely new to Sky, like presenting roles people. Fantastic. Cut it all back, make it simpler. The Kev's rant again. First one there.
Just checking where your soapbox was then. But yeah, there we go.
Not wrong though, am I?
No. I think we're done and dusted. We will be back on Wednesday evening for the first preview show of the year, where we will talk a little bit more in depth on Saints and what's been going on around the club, as well as the preview for Friday. We've recorded a Redvee podcast.
We've been asked enough, haven't we?
Yeah, so we've given it a go. It's about an hour and 20 minutes of us talking, a bit about who we are, how we came to be doing Redvee. We've looked at the 2020 kits and analysed them. We should analyse kits on a podcast. Can't even see them. You have to believe us when we tell them how bad or good they are. Our expectations for the year. Rebranding, a Man of Steel, and our club views in depth. You can be able to download it. I can't tell you where because I haven't worked out where it's going yet, but it'll be up on the Redvee website in the next day or so, and I'll put the links on Twitter and Facebook. So give it a listen if you're in the car, on the train. It's about an hour and 20 minutes. Just listen to it in chunks, because I can't put up with listening to myself for that long either.
Neither can I. I've sat here.
You got a cup of coffee for that?
I did get a cup of coffee, yes.
Anything on that before we go?
Yeah, we've had a couple of questions in. We asked for people to find some questions in, so just have a little look through the social media. Simon Skidmore, how do you think the younger lads will go this season, like Bentley, Costello, etc.? What do you think will be the best way to ease the transition when Roby decides to hang up his boots, or will he go around again next season?
I think Jack Welsby will be used properly in the rotation this year.
Yeah.
He'll get more minutes. I think James Bentley will probably get the 9 role ahead of Aaron Smith based on what I saw last week. And I think Lewis Dodd will get the same amount of minutes as Danny Rich did, because I think Lewis Dodd is an immense talent. And he'll be pushing, if he kicks on, potentially pushing Theo in the next couple of years.
Well, the fact that we've got rid of Swift and Richardson says to me there's full faith in the lads coming through.
Yeah.
So that's where they'll go. I think it is a big season for the likes of Costello, because he's got it's almost, is he coming towards the end of a contract? Does he want another one with us? Does he want to move on somewhere else?
So he needs to show.
So he does need to show. He's never been bad when he's played for us, but he'll probably be looking to getting a little bit more game time.
Paul Cunliffe asked us on Facebook regarding the parking situation. Obviously, for those who used the Tesco car park in recent years, they're cutting the times down to an hour and a half free parking, which isn't going to be enough to be able to get into the ground and out the ground and get off without getting a fine. It is going to affect those with mobility issues who probably can't struggle over the bridge or haven't got people who can just drop them off outside. But you can pay £3 per game to park on the Tesco car park. I will put the links on Facebook and Twitter. You need to pay online to a company called Horizon who own the car park. But for £3 you can park on Tesco for the entire day. So there is a solution out there. It's going to cost you a little bit, I'm aware. But if you need that ease of being able to get off the car park quickly as well, so you'll probably be able to get off easier than in recent years also, it's probably going to be worth that £3 than the £1.50 you'd probably pay in the town centre.
And to be fair, it's what the equivalent of about £1 an hour. I know you can park there all day, but if you get there for 7 and leave at 10, it's not the worst.
And share with a couple of people potentially in your car share, because obviously we're all trying to protect the environment. Greta.
Yeah. Keith Hale.
She watches, you know.
What do you think Wolf will bring to the team this year? Will we be more aggressive and cut out some of the niceness out of our approach?
We haven't got a snarl, have we?
No.
Even Louis just a wind up Hitchinson just bring. I know he gets on everybody's nerves of the opposition, but who's bringing the biff? Theo.
No, it'll be. Yeah, no, I don't think we. Yeah, you're right. We haven't got that. We've got the. I think Bentley's got a little bit of what I call the mongrel about him, but I don't think we have. As long as, to be honest, if he keeps us the same mentality as we are when we're not losing our heads and losing people for needless 10 minutes. Then I don't care what he brings to us discipline wise, as long as we keep it there. I think we'll be a little bit, if it's possible, I think we'll be as tough, if not better, defensively as well with him.
Yeah.
You're trying to find winger options with no Makinson for Salford.
Jack Welsby played there in the Louis testimonial, scored a try. And he's played there last season in games where the wingers have been missing, so it'll be Jack Welsby.
Yeah. Any chance of ripping seats out of the bottom of one of the touchline stands and making it standing?
No.
Thus recreating popular side at Nosey Road to create a better atmosphere?
No.
Not when the money's rolling in.
And I'm not strong enough, and I'll probably get told off if we did that.
Plus, you'd have to do it at the top, I think, rather than the bottom.
Yeah.
And it's not feasible. The club makes enough money off them. And they can charge more for a better seat than if you just call it 20 quid for everybody along the side. Should we strengthen the squad? Can we rely on the youngsters?
We have strengthened the squad. We've got, as we talked about earlier, Luke Thompson a year older, Matty Lee's another year experienced, Regan Grace coming into his prime. We're stronger.
If we get a lengthy injury to Coote, Tommy, Regan, Lomax early in the season, will the youngsters be burnt out come June, July?
That's a bit harsh, isn't it? Injuring everyone.
I think that's a worst case scenario. I think we've got enough to cover.
Yes.
I think we've got enough to cover. I think if we lost somebody like Tommy and played Costello there, you'd obviously lose the pace, the finishing, the kind of bringing it back out. But I don't think he'd be burnt out come June, July. Obviously, if you're going to try and play Lewis Dodd for a full season, or Josh Sim for a full season, even Jack Wellesby for a full season, you might start worrying them at the back end.
Yeah.
I think that's just normal, isn't it? Maybe discuss some of the new rules that the RFL have introduced for the 2020 season. So this includes knocking the shot clocks down, agree with it. Yellow cards for headshots.
When they say headshots, are they talking high tackles or
Forceful headshots.
so if you've swung an arm or
you
you've
connect.
and you've
Yeah,
punched,
it's an automatic yellow.
yeah,
Listen, people whinge about it, and people whinge about...
one punch can kill.
Well,
So a yellow card is probably the least you probably deserve.
you look at rugby union, anything above the armpits is high, and it's trying to stop them high tackles coming in and putting people's career in jeopardy. People might say, oh, it's a bit too softly. Listen, you just want to see lads be able to go home. Look at Mossy's was very, very innocuous.
Yeah.
And he's unfortunately laid up in hospital, and it's the last thing you want to see.
Yeah. So that's why we don't want the Biff coming back.
Yeah. Playing the ball.
Sorry, that rule wasn't a rule already.
Yeah. You know, you just think, oh, come on. That should just be... There's bigger issues than the play of the ball. I do like the fact they've gone to a scrum from a penalty. So if you play it wrong, or you kind of don't...
Yeah. Make an attempt to play the ball.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll agree with that.
I'm sure there was another one that I was trying to think of. I can't remember anyway. RFL thinking about bringing Super League teams into the Challenge Cup earlier. I've no problem with them bringing them in earlier. To be honest, I'd hope the Challenge Cup would move to the end of May anyway.
Yeah.
We used to always play earlier. I wouldn't have an issue with it.
Yeah.
What's the plan with Joe Paulo? What does he bring to the team?
What's next?
Um,
he's a squad player, isn't he, Joe?
Yeah.
No, that's a bit harsh on him, but I don't think he did a lot wrong last season. He probably didn't stand out. He's a squad player now, and I think he's battling the likes of your Bentleys, your Smiths, your youngsters for the
Ashworth,
for a bench spot.
Yeah.
He's not first choice. If a decent offer came in for him, could you see him going out? Or dual reg maybe?
No, I don't think he'd drop that. I think he'd stay reserved rather than go out dual reg. He was brought in as the link player who could also do it tough. You almost think, will a year of him settling over here kind of make him a little bit better?
Do you know what? I think he'll have the disappointment of missing out at the back end of last season.
Yeah. World Club ticket sales so far, and why have we not had the demand to open the away end yet?
Because you're not going to open the away end until you've sold the other three stands out.
Yeah,
it will be open, I'm sure. But
we're over 75% on the West Stand. Some of the seating options are very low at the minute.
But you fill them up before you open another stand.
I think people will wait and see how we start going at the beginning of the season,
which
is a mistake.
To be fair, it won't be until the three stands are filled. Once the West stand is sold out, you're not going to open another standing area until you've sold out your first one.
It's a mistake if people are waiting on the tickets to see how Saints start this season. So I remember losing at Wakefield, and then we went to beat Brisbane at Bolton, I think it was.
I just think, do you know what? The fact that they've sold so many tickets a month out says a lot. There's a couple of paydays before then for a lot of people, isn't there? So I'm sure people will just buy them coming up, but I'd advise getting them as soon as.
Any possible new signings coming in? Tongans, not this season. A lot of turnover next year, you'd imagine. There's a lot of people coming off contract. If we end up deciding that we need to kind of move some of them on, I think there's quite a few in the forwards, then you could see Tongans coming in, especially with his background with that, but it wouldn't surprise me to see kind of some of the lads step up. You're going to have a look at the likes of James Bentley in the second row. You're going to have to look at Joe Batchelor in the second row. Are they going to be the people to take over from the likes of Zeb Tyre? There's the parking one from Paul Cunliffe, as Dave says, put that online. What will Toronto demand next? Every team to relocate to Canada, then get an extra $5 million on the salary cap.
No, they're going to demand Redvee TV comes across, all expenses paid, and does an episode for them. But we're not going to, because we are going to Munich instead.
We are going to Munich instead. We are.
Unfortunately, fortunately.
Yeah. That'll do for me. That's all the Facebook ones. You want me to have a look at Twitter, see if we've got anything on there? No? You're not bothered? That's our poor followers here. Right, let's have a look.
I asked for the question.
Oh, we've got... I know you did. Saints TV, should I go for it?
Yeah, why not? The reaction on the forum to it has been that people wanted it, the club have provided it. For me, if you go to the game, it's not. Personally, I wouldn't be watching the 80 minutes back because I've already seen it. But for me, the standout features of it are being able to watch the academy, because a lot of people can't get into the ground for 5:30 at night, and we have got some talented youngsters. It's going to be a chance to see them, and apparently there's some decent podcasts on there. I'm told, they'll be on par with the Redvee one, but some going to be decent podcasts from inside the club. A few behind the scenes documentaries and things are planned. I think it'll be a decent watching. What is it? £49 for the year for season ticket holders. What's that? A couple of pints a month for your Saints fix on demand all day every day. I think I'll be taking that.
Yeah. Your views on McDermott moaning Toronto should get dispensation on the salary.
McDermott moaning. Oh, there's a shock.
What a surprise. You know what? I'd almost like to go back and see what
they're going to change the face of rugby league in the Northern Hemisphere.
I would like to almost go back and see if McDermott's had any views on Toronto when they first started and see if they've changed since then. And that's, again, it's not a go at Toronto, it's a go at McDermott because he's a whinging
Yorkshire.
Something. Yeah. Do you get any Tesco points if you park on the car park for matches? You know that, do they? I doubt it because it's not Tesco you're paying. No, yeah. You'll have to go in and buy a butty after it if you want your Tesco points. What's the opinion on creating a legacy at Saints or chasing big dollars in Oz? I'd imagine that's aimed at Luke Thompson. That's the last one as well. Listen,
if Luke goes at the end of his contract after the service he's given us and he chooses to go to Australia and play his trade, fair enough, have a go. He get an Avon contract.
He'd go with the same best wishes that James Graham
and Justin Albrook. That
like
said, I'd love him to stay.
Yeah, and that's it. He could sign another 2 years, create a legacy by us winning the Super League for the next couple of years on top of that, and then go to Oz. I've no problems with him going over there. And if
the thing is, you're going for. You can't say, well, you either go for the money or you're going for the challenge, because you get both in Australia.
Yeah.
But that said, Australia isn't for everyone.
Yeah.
And if he wants to stay in this country, then he's at the best place to do that if that's what he chooses. So we will see.
Yep, that'll do.
Right, I'm not doing the ending again. Watch the Redvee podcast. I'll probably link up at some point. We will catch you on Wednesday night. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.